everyone, and it's my intention just for a few days, just at lunchtime, to have a little lunchtime lockdown look-in as we look at some characters in Scripture who have been isolated, as you might be at this time. And so we're going to begin by looking at Genesis chapter 1. The first character we're going to look at is the character of Adam, whose name means from the ground. So these isolation meditations are going to begin by looking at the very first man. We read of Adam in Genesis 1, in Genesis 2, 7 to 8, and 16 to 25, in Genesis 3, 6 to 24, and in Romans 5, 12 to 15. But to just focus our hearts, we're going to look just a little bit at Genesis 1, 26 to 31. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. And God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." And God said, "Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of all the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food, and to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of all the heavens, and to everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has the breath of life, I have given every green plant for food." And it was so. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. There was evening, there was morning, the sixth day. Amen. So we've been thinking our way through the early chapters of Genesis in our evening services before we had to take the leap during our time of isolation and lockdown, looking at the story of Joseph. But you might think to yourself, how was Adam isolated? Some of the other characters, perhaps the link will be more stark. But we've seen creation in Genesis chapter 1. And then we move into Genesis 1 into the creation of man, to the creation of Adam. How Adam is moulded, handcrafted by God, in a personal way, with God's own hands. There's precision. There's intricate detail here. Think of the most athletic, muscular, skilled, brilliant, handsome man, other than me. But think of perhaps the Shakespeare of literature, the Einstein of science, the Mozart of music, unfallen Adam. He was the peak, the pinnacle, the crown of creation. Yet he was isolated. Unlike any of the birds of the air, the birds of the air, the beasts of the field, the fish of the sea, they all reproduced after their own kind. But we read about how God moulded Adam intricately, handcrafted, with God's own hand. And Eden was a paradise for this man of charm and charisma. It was beauty and bliss, meadow and mountain, forest and fauna. There were rushing rivers, vivacious, vast, grassy glens and gardens, paradise. And this man who was soul, spirit, emotion, conscience, different to all of the other created order that we've read about, was isolated. Genesis tells us that actually God gave Adam a sense of lack. When the animals came to Adam for their names, giraffes, kangaroos, porcupines, it was then that actually Adam realized that he was alone. What did Adam do when he was alone in the garden? Well, Genesis tells us that in the cool of the day, he walked with God. He spent time with God. He had close, intimate fellowship with God. Isolation. I wonder as we think about that word, today as we reflect on Adam's world, that would then become Adam's woes. I wonder, can we with expectation desire the day when we realise that it's not good for us to be alone? Are we expectant and excited about being back again in the place of fellowship? Are we expectant and excited about how we might encourage each other once again? Are we expectant and excited about not being alone again? And the great privilege and blessing that fellowship, church, congregation, friendship is. Is this a time to really thank God for those things? And is isolation also a time when we realise we need to walk with God? Not just in the cool of the day, but when we have the time to spend time in God's most holy word. Adam, isolation meditation number 1. As we lock in and look in with Adam, we can see that isolation can bring us closer to God.